Class, today we're going to look at arrays. In our previous lesson, we looked at variables. And variables are just names for things that can hold information and remember that information. Arrays are similar to variables in that fact that they hold information, but they can hold lists of information. So you can effectively call an array a list, but in computer science we call them an array. And in some languages that makes a pretty big difference. For this year, if you think of an array as a list, you're not going to get yourself in too much trouble. So I'm going to start off by creating a web page. And so I already set up the web page, and the web page is just a basic website. It's got a title called document. It's got a body with a div tag in it, and that div tag has an ID. This is going to be how we hook into this web page. We'll be changing the content of my web page. At the bottom, we have a hook to call our JavaScript. Our CSS, I just colored the body blue-violet with a color white. And I chose a font from Google Fonts just to make it look a little better, and then I just bumped up the font size a little bit. When I hit refresh, you can see it was already there, but it says my web page. So that's got this rule set for how it's going to look, and this is the web page itself. Now I also have a link to array.js at the very bottom, so then after the page is loaded, it's going to call array.js, and it's going to do whatever we ask it to do in array.js. In array.js, I set up a bunch of comments, which are just ignored by the computer, but they're for us to read. And we are going to be working on arrays. We're going to create an array. We're going to access the first item, the last item. We'll change the first item in the array. You could also change the last item if you'd like to. We'll access the entire array. We'll sort the array, and then we'll call something called push and pop, which is how to add and delete items off the end of the array. There are other things you can do, but and then we also want to, that's good. So I'm going to make a variable. I'm going to call it text and arrays. I'm going to just say text is equal to arrays. And this is going to be what we change our web page text to. The very bottom of this, I'm going to say document dot get element by ID. I think that's capitalized correctly. And then I'm going to look in my HTML. I called this ID content. So we're going to grab the content, and then we're going to change the inner HTML. So we're going to change the text my web page. It doesn't matter what's in there. If that was 100 lines of code, everything's going to get changed when we do this. So it's called content dot inner HTML equals text. And then we're going to test this by hitting refresh, and now it says arrays. So now to create an array, we say var, what do I want to make an array of? Animals equals birds, dogs, cats, snakes, lizards, and the list can go on and on, but that's long enough. And so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to say text equals text plus. So I'm adding to our text, I'm adding to create an array, I can text equals text plus my new array is colon plus animals. Let's see what that does. So we create an array, and then we're saying my new array is, and it says my new array is birds, dogs, cats, snakes, lizards. So I don't like that there's a no break here, so the command for line break is br. So we don't put a line break. And so that tells us what an array is. So we've created an array. It's called animals. Now to get the first item in the array, we'll say text equals text plus the first item in my array is, and I'm going to put plus, then I will type animals, because that's the name of my array. I'll put a square bracket, 0, close the bracket. Now in computer science, in most languages, the first item is, we always start counting at 0. So here the first item is at index 0. Then I will hit refresh. And now it says my new array is bird, dogs, cats, snakes, lizards. The first item in my array is birds. Now, I don't like this, so I'm going to come back up to animals. I'm going to put a plus symbol, and I'm going to put another line break. There. So now it says arrays. My new array is birds, dogs, cats, snakes, lizards. The first item in my array is birds. I'm going to actually put a colon before. I think it will look a little nicer. Then I want to look at the last item. So I will say text equals our text plus the last item in my array is plus animals. Now, this is index 0 is birds, dogs is at index 1, cats is at index 2, snakes is at index 3, lizards is at index 4. So I will put animals 4, and I will hit refresh, and it tells me the last item is lizard. Again, I need to put that line break. On line 8. So now my new array is birds, dogs, cats, snakes, lizards. First item in my array is birds. The last item in my array is lizards. Now, if you put one too many, JavaScript will just say it's an undefined because it doesn't have an item at position 5. So I'm going to go back to position 4, and that's how we get the last item. And if I wanted to get item at index 3, I would just put a 3 in there and all of that. Now I'm going to say animals. To change an item in the array, animals 0 is no longer birds. I want to be more specific and call it parrots. Before I do this, I'm going to come up here. I'm going to add the BR tag. Now I'm going to say text equals text plus I changed the first item in my array, period. My new array is, and I'm going to put plus animals. And then I will put plus BR. Just to put a line break after the end of the sentence, and I will look and I say, I changed the first item in my array. My new array is parrots, dogs, cats, snakes, lizards, because we changed the first item. So to access the entire array, we've already done that, so I can actually delete this here. When you just say the name of the array, that accesses the entire array. Now we're going to try sorting the array. And I'm going to say animals.sort. And now I'm going to say text equals text plus I sorted my array. It is now plus animals plus our line break. And so now you can see that this is in alphabetical order, C, D, L, P, S. And it doesn't matter how long your array is, sort just will sort your list of whatever's in your array. Now to add an item to the end of the array, you can say animals dot push. And that will push an item onto the end of the array. So we've got cats, dogs, lizards, parrots, snakes, and I will put on, we already have cats, but I'm going to put on a tiger. And then I'm going to say text equals text plus I pushed an item onto my array, and it is now plus animals plus quote PR. And tiger is now at the end. Now, it happens that it's in alphabetical order still, but if it was not, you could then resort it if you'd like. And then finally what we're going to do is we're going to say var last item equals animals dot pop. And what that's going to do is that's going to pop the last item off. And it's going to, right now, it's going to store that last item in a variable called last item. I'm going to say text equals text plus I pop the last item plus last item plus off of the array. And I'm going to say text equals text plus my array is now plus colon plus animals. So we have arrays. My new array is birds, dogs, cats, snakes, lizards. The first item in my array is birds. The last item in my array is lizards. I changed the first item in the array. My new array is parrots, dogs, cats, snakes, lizards. I sorted my array. It is now cats, dogs, lizards, parrots, snakes. I pushed an item onto my array. It is now cats, dogs, lizards, parrots, snakes, tigers. I popped the last item, tiger, off of my array, and if I see there's no space between tiger and off, so I just come to the beginning of the word off. I'm going to put a space there, and I'm going to just hit refresh real quick, and that adds a space before the word off. You can't add a space after the word Tiger, you have to add it before the word off, which is basically the same thing, except that's how we do that. You have to put it in the string. And then I say, my array is now cats, dogs, lizards, parrots, snakes. And so you're going to hand in a screenshot of your code. You may need 2 screenshots, and then you also hand in a screenshot of your web page, which is all the stuff that you've accomplished. Thank you. I hope this was interesting. There's a lot of content here, and we will be exploring arrays in future exercises.